We'll be discussing about location intelligence for public safety and healthcare management today. And well, first of all, let me introduce just briefly who we are and what we do at Iconsulting. If I have to put 3 hashtags on what we are good at, I would say data warehouse, business intelligence, and performance management. So to us, location intelligence is about extending the analytical data that you, as a business and as an organization, you own, and bringing in the spatial dimension. Saying it in other words, as stated in the recently published paper by the Professor Golfarelli and Rizzi from the University of Bologna, location intelligence is a set of tools and techniques to integrate a geographical dimension into the BI platform that aimed at enhancing their capability for better monitoring and interpreting business events. So let's see what it means. Well, we all know that we live in a period of changes, and changes happen faster than ever. So if we take the big data and location intelligence from a business analytic perspective, what we face is basically 2 choices. First one, you can have a vertical solution for everyone on the market in terms of industry, in terms of functions. Or you can have another option, that is having an open framework to plug in and manage all your data sources. Well, as Iconsulting, we choose the option number 2. The reason why is that, well, out in the field, I've been speaking with all these organizations where we developed location intelligence and business for business solutions. And having the silver bullet for everyone out there, it's practically impossible. So the only thing we know for sure is that future is uncertain. So if I came up with a solution that solves a problem, well, in a while I have to change it, I have to adapt it, I have to replace it. So what we figure out instead is, why don't we put our effort in answering these 3 questions? Where do we stand? What are we good at? And finally, how can we adapt? And we'll discuss 3 points throughout these 2 short demos. One is about healthcare, and the other one is about the South Yorkshire Police. So let's jump to the first one. So here what we have. We have the Italian region in Emilia-Romagna, and by the way, I live just in the middle of that region. And where do we stand? Here on the map, you have all the hospital and structures divided by public and private sector. So what you have is also that you can, of course, zoom in and have all the information about a specific structure. So, for example, about this hospital, you can analyze the structure and bring up all the information about the specific service they offer. You can also filter out all the structures that are within this circle you drew in or polygon, and have the information about the complex of these structures. That's the first thing you know. But what they also know is everything about patients. If you think about it, healthcare services is the only business where you know everything. You have the fidelity card about your customer. They come in, you know them, you know how they get in and how they get out. So it's powerful information. We know everything, and for example, they can understand the impact of foreign people in the healthcare service. This is on the map are all the people that attending in a hospital in 2012. And another thing that you can do, you can also filter by the people who attended a specific hospital. So this is the power of attractiveness of l'Ospedale Maggiore in Bologna. My children were born there, and all these people attended throughout this year in that hospital. So that's what we know. What are we good at, was the second question. Again, you have this map, and all the structures are presented here. So they ask us to deploy a service level algorithm. So here there's a neat map about how far the people are from the closest hospital. And the heat map is color based on the distance, but also the amount of population that live in a specific area. This is valid not just for the hospital as a general concept, but also for a specific pathology. Here's for trauma, for example. How far are we from the closest hospital? So the very next question then was, what happens if I remove an hospital? You see, the heat map changed, because you removed not the hospital itself, of course, but if, for example, you can replace a machine, you redeploy the personnel, you take out a service, budget cut, and that's what happens. So digging further, moving deeper, we can have what they call the Dependency Index. So who are the people that are affected from the removal? The people who attended that hospital for that specific service in 2012 came from that area. So, well, then what they ask us is, where should we move these people if this service is not available anymore? Well, first of all, we can figure out that the people is moving to the very nearest hospital. So if we have this point here, I clicked on the structure, and we see an overload of 68 people forecasted for the next year. But they came up with this different algorithm in which they stated that you are not going to the very next hospital, but you are going to the hospital where your neighborhood goes. You live by your family, your brother, your sister, your friends, and you probably attend the hospital that they are going to. So different algorithm, this time same hospital, will have just one more attendee. So this is what they are good at, managing their data and understand their business, letting us know what they want to do with their business so they can manage their service. So that was the first demo. And the last question of the demo is, how can we adapt it? So they adapt it by using a location intelligence platform. That is option number 2. You remember, they brought in all data about structure, then about patients, and then their algorithm, and then their business model, financial data, and eventually data from the outside world, social networks, and whatever else they need. That was the first one. Let's see how the same concepts are applied to the South Yorkshire Police.
Okay, thank you. We're going to do a walkthrough demo of the visibility reporting solution we've got in South Yorkshire Police. But just a bit of background, we don't, for instance, this is not the solution that is used in the command and control centres to deploy the officers, but it is using the data that is collected as a result of all the officers having their handheld radio with a GPS connection. And we have recorded over the last 3 years, since 2011, about 200 million rows of information and data. So what we've got up there is a picture of the county of South Yorkshire. It's also got Humberside on. We've made the first dashboard very simple. It's intended for the Chief Constable and the Senior Command Team in the place. It's intended for the Office of the Police and Crime Commissioner, so they can get an at-a-glance view of what is happening in the county in terms of officer availability and visibility. And are the officers out there doing what's expected of them, or are they ending up coming into the office doing paperwork, and what can we do about that? So if we drill down on the, just to show there, we've defined visibility as that the officer is out of the police station. So that's all the police stations showing up there. We've defined availability as being available to go to an incident and do something for the public. And what we think will happen is we will sort of benchmark these figures and we'll get a feel for where they should be and look at improving them over time. So if we drill down on the county, we can then see that we've got 4 districts in South Yorkshire, each with a district commander who wants to see what their visibility is. We're probably going to go away from the red, amber, green approach because I think we need to get a feel for when we look at visibility. It might be perfectly reasonable that there are no police officers in that particular location because there's no crime and there's no population. So we're probably going to be looking at percentages to sort of make it as meaningful as possible. So then what we can do if we're the district commander who seems to have the poorest visibility, we can drill down on that, and we've got the safer neighbourhood areas, which is what they refer to in South Yorkshire. And then we can drill down even further to the safer neighbourhood team that typically would be run by an inspector or a sergeant, and they can see what's going on in their patch. So that's all the sort of hierarchical structure that's in the organisation based on location. We go on to the next dashboard we've got. When we're actually looking at, or when the officers are looking at dealing with hotspots, or if they're running any particular model, such as looking at opportunistic crime prevention and reduction, and they want to target a specific area, they can draw a polygon on the map, and that will then be there in the solution for them to go back to whatever point to see whether any measures that they put in place have actually worked or not. And I guess eventually what we want to do is bring in all the other bits of data we've talked about, the crime data, the demographics, data from the health, data from the transport area, so we can get this big picture. But we've started really with HR, finance and visibility. So going on to the next dashboard, which is really one of the things the performance analysts spend a lot of time doing in the police service is gathering all this information, and then they spend a lot of time presenting it in a nice way, and I think we want them to spend more time analysing it. So what we're trying to do in IS for them is take away that drudgery of gathering the data and that difficulty of presenting it. So this is often quite what they want to do is compare 2 days, the day before, the last couple of days, and this kind of deployment analysis allows them to do that. The final thing we're going to show then is what we can do is when we started out with this, quite often we got questions from the public that said, the officer's driven too fast down the street and I want to complain. So then we'd go away and find the data and prove it wasn't true or whatever. So what we've got really easily now is a snail trail for every single person who's an officer with a radio recording where they've been, and we can do that as a heat map, and we can see if we're a sergeant managing a team of officers, you know, are my team doing what I said or not, and we can act upon that. I think that's basically the overall start point, what we're at. We expect to develop it further and bring more things along. We see it as a solution to giving us that platform to look at performance and to look at eventually, you know, things like simulations, predictive policing, because we've got a flexible tool that can meet many needs. So I hope you enjoyed that whistle-stop tour.
Thank you, Debbie. I always like when someone from the field actually explain what's going on instead of salespeople or technical people. So this is the official end of the presentation, but in reality, if you want to know more about location intelligence, you have 3 options. You can stop by over there and leave your card, write an email, or contact us on Twitter, and we will provide you more information and more demos, and we'll get in contact. Thank you.